Now by default, we want these to be next to each other, but right now if we inspect these sections, they're going to stretch across the entire browser because they're block elements. But if we change them so that they are inline block elements, let's do display inline block, then we'll start to fit as many as possible as we can across. As we expand the browser, you can see eventually we'll see all 4. Now if we compare this with our mockup, there's more spacing between these blocks, but also they're centered on the page. So that is, if we can imagine only having 2 blocks, they would be right here in the middle with some extra space to either side. So it would be nice if we could align these to the middle as well. And we could do that by setting the alignment in the overall section, that's this stacked hero section right here, to text align center. Let's try that. So we'll do text align center. Okay, so what we see now is that our boxes are indeed centered. You can see the same amount of border to this side and this side. But now our icons are a bit wonky and our text here is aligned to the center, rather than, if we look at our mockup, being justified to the left. So what we would need to do if we used this strategy is we would have to adjust the styles on icon box to override the alignment of the section above it. So again, one of the way that the cascading part works in cascading style sheets is a style cascades to the elements inside of it until one of those elements overrides that style. So this text align center is being used on the heading, the section, the divs, and so on. But if we took this section that also includes our icon and we reset the alignment, let's set text align to left to reset it, then everything gets pulled in the way we want to, but we still get the centering, as you can see here. Okay, so we have some CSS that works. Now, where exactly should we put these styles? This text alignment to the center for this stacked hero section here isn't necessarily something that we want to cascade to all stacked hero sections. Also, this text alignment to the center feels like it has more to do with these icon box sections. That is, when we have multiple icon boxes in a group, we want them to be aligned to the center of whatever component that they're inside. Remember that we're thinking about these individual items as components that we might want to reuse in other places. So it seems like what might make more sense is to have a wrapper around these components that might actually be a part of the component itself that will center all of these components and position the icons in the right way. So what we'll do is we'll add a wrapper around these sections, and those styles should then belong to the icon box component rather than to the stacked hero section component. So let's do that. So I'm going to go back to our code, and what we need to do first is add our wrapper to our HTML. So I'll go to our index.html file, and let's create a wrapper here. We'll use a div tag because this is being used for layout purposes only. We'll give it a class of icon box wrapper, and we'll indent everything and add our closing div. And now let's take this class, we'll save it, and we'll go back to our icon box style sheet, and we'll add our selector here. We'll use an ampersand in order to pull in the icon box and prepend it to wrapper. And all this needs to do is set the text align to center. And then we're going to override that in the icon box itself to text align left. And then we also needed to add a display of inline block to each one of these. All right, we'll save this and refresh in the browser. Okay, so this is looking good. Now we need to just increase the padding between these elements. Let's go back to our mockup and do a quick measurement of what this should be. So it's around 25 pixels. So I'm gonna make sure that an icon box section is highlighted here. And so what I'll do is go back to our editor, and let's go ahead and pull this margin top into just a margin shorthand property. So we'll set the top to this px2rem82, and then the right margin, and again we move from the top over clockwise, so we're gonna do top, then right, and let's set the right and the left to 12 pixels. We'll set the bottom to 0, and then the left to 12. Okay, we'll save this, let's refresh in the browser. All right, now that's what we want.